Hi PE 570, this is my presentation video for week 7. My topic that I'm going to be presenting on is recruiting strategies for coaches at the junior college level. So if you want to open up another browser and open up the PowerPoint that coincides with this presentation, then I will be guiding you through each slide and walking you through that. So let's get started. So the topic that I'm presenting on, which is recruiting strategies for coaches at the junior college level, I'll be discussing different topics within that one. So the first topic I'll be discussing is the protocols for coaches and student athletes. Under the umbrella of those protocols are knowing the rules of when and how to reach out, both student athlete to coach, as well as coach to student athlete. Another topic I'll be going over are resources that are available for student athletes who are interested in playing at the collegiate level. And then lastly, the biggest portion of this presentation is going to be the actual strategies that coaches can use during the recruitment process, especially junior college coaches, the strategies they can use to win them over versus students wanting to go directly to a four-year university. So that's going to be the main chunk of it. So moving on, I'm going to be on slide 3. All right, so slide 3 talks about the values, faiths, and beliefs of mine. So I'm going to start off with my beliefs. So I believe that coaches should always help make the recruitment process for student athletes possible. I think that coaches have a big influence in getting athletes recruited. I also believe that coaches should conduct the recruitment process in a fair way to give all players opportunities, or players that are interested the opportunities, just to keep things fair on the coach's end. I also believe that everyone has value and worth no matter what the level of sport. So I believe that a coach should never ignore an interested athlete in the recruitment process. I know that might be hard, and depending on what level of competition you coach, that might be difficult, but it doesn't change the fact that everyone in this world has value and has worth. So that's my belief. My value is in my belief in integrity, and integrity goes for both student athletes as well as coaches. I believe that coaches and players should always be honest during the recruitment process. So I don't believe that coaches should ever make promises that they don't intend to keep, or offering things that they can't give. And on the flip side, I believe a player should never be dishonest to get into a program. I think it only hurts you if you do end up getting in that program and are unable to play. So I think that integrity is huge. And then lastly, my faith. So I quoted a verse that says, "Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't look out for only your own interests, but take an interest in others too. You must have the same attitude as Christ Jesus had." That's in Philippians 2, 3 through 5. And I put that in there because it goes along with my belief in value and integrity. So just don't think that you're better, whether you're an athlete. Don't think you're better than the other. And then as a coach, really looking out for others and just having a humble attitude. So this is how my values, faith, and beliefs are tied into this subject. So moving on to slide 4. So we're going to go over the protocols for coaches as well as student athletes, starting with student athletes. So in our textbook, it talks about how high school students need to focus on academics and know what the qualifying standards are to be eligible to compete and also to receive financial aid. So this is important for students because you don't want to go through high school not being academically eligible in order to compete if that's what you strive to do. And then a quote from the textbook says that student athletes wishing to compete at the NCAA level must register with the NC2A Eligibility Center online to ensure that coursework has been validated, grade point test scores have been recorded, and minimum NC2A academic standards have been met. So just to kind of clarify, the NC2A stands for the National Collegiate Athletic Association, and the Eligibility Center is also known as the NC2A Clearinghouse. What that is, it's an organization within the NC2A that determines a student's academic eligibility. So in order to do that, you create an account, follow the steps, and go through the process in order for them to look at your academics. So once you do that, it's really important to know that this process does not mean you'll get recruited. This is not a place for you to put your information out where coaches recruit you. So let's go ahead and move on to slide 5. So the student athletes that are interested in playing at the next level. So an athlete can reach out to college coaches at any time, and these are the following things that they can do when reaching out. So the first thing is send an email with an athletic resume. That's just including all of your former athletic experiences, where you played, and who your coaches were. Another thing is to include a highlight video if possible. So if you've ever had games recorded, just include a highlight video that shows highlights. Coaches don't want to see videos of an entire game and have to follow you through that. So really just highlight you specifically and make it short. Another thing is to include sport-specific stats. So just including your stats and how you stand out. And also academic information, which includes the major that you're interested in, as well as your GPA and things of that nature. So when you reach out, if you don't get any type of response, then it's good to follow up with a phone call or even an email, but follow-up is important. And lastly, it's really important for an athlete to get the recruitment process started. You have to take an initiative if you want to keep playing at the collegiate level. So it's really important that the student athlete does their homework and knows the program that they're reaching out to and is confident when they reach out to their coaches. So moving on to slide 6. So going into the protocols for coaches, it's really important for the coaches to know the rules and their boundaries. So for most sports, coaches can reach out starting June 15th after the sophomore year of the athlete or September 1st of their junior year. Coaches cannot solicit an athlete to attend by promising gifts or any other things. And a student athlete must have completed his or her junior year in high school in order to receive an official recruiting visit. So what that means, an official recruiting visit means a visit to a college campus by a college-bound student athlete or his or her parents that's paid for by the college. The key word there is paid for. So if the college pays for a student to come visit or pays for a student and their parents to come visit the campus, that's considered an official visit. So another thing that coaches need to be aware of is that every student must be a high school graduate, have a general education diploma, or a State Department of Education approved high school equivalency test. Also, any student athlete wanting to transfer from one junior college to another, communication has to be approved by both athletic directors in order to proceed. So if there's a student athlete that has already played at a junior college and wants to transfer and play at another, if they reach out to the coach needs to get approval from the athletic director. So as you can see, there are limitations that the coaches can or cannot do. So it's really important that the athletes step up in that regard. The next slide, slide number 7. So resources that are available for student athletes. The number one I would say is your current coach. So high school coaches can have a huge impact on the recruitment of a player because they often have connections to college coaches. So their recommendation is highly influenced to a college coach. Athletes shouldn't go through the recruiting process alone. So reaching out to your current high school coach and see if they're willing to reach out to the college that they're interested on their behalf is very beneficial. A good place to start would be a letter of recommendation. Let's see. In a article titled "The Top 5 Resources for College Recruiting Assistant" from Fred Beastie, he quoted, "Your current coach is the most reliable person in a college coach's eyes to vouch for your abilities, character, and work ethic." So your high school coach is a big part of trying to get recruited. Another resource would be your parents. So an athlete's parents can be helpful in the decision-making process. So we're not saying that the parent should do the work for the athlete. We're just saying that the parent can provide input on the budget for college, helping organize the process, developing a timeline, or proofreading emails and different types of correspondences. So those types of helps, those type of support from parents is really helpful in a student trying to get recruited. Also technology. So the internet can be used to learn a lot about the recruiting process, including how coaches evaluate in their specific sport, research colleges and their athletic programs. So technology is huge. There are recruiting services out there that are great tools to help athletes find colleges as well as scholarships, but it's really important to be smart and not get scammed. So one example is RecruitLook. It's a recruiting service that you do pay for, but their motto is "We scout, we evaluate, we educate, and we guide." So it's important to look at those reviews and see which ones are legit. Moving on, so we are now on slide 9. So strategies for coaches. This is going to be the chunk of the presentation. So attending a junior college gives student athletes the opportunity to improve their athletic skills while earning credits toward a degree. So athletes can transfer after 2 years and still have 2 years of playing eligibility. So one thing that coaches can do is debunk the myths and misconceptions about junior college, which there are a lot of. So moving on. So on recruitlook.com, the 5 myths that were listed were: number 1, JUCO is only for academic casualties. So this is false because there are many students that go to a junior college that are very good academically and have very good GPAs. So it's not because someone is bad academically that they go attend a junior college. Number 2, JUCO is a last resort. Doesn't have to be a last resort. A junior college could be a good route for late bloomers or slow to develop physically, who will only compete with 18 to 19-year-olds versus 21 to 22-year-olds. So playing junior college will keep the dream alive for those who wish to play at a 4-year institution. Myth number 3 is I'm better than settling for a JUCO. So going to a junior college is not settling. Not all players are guaranteed to be a starter at a 4-year institution. So going to the junior college gives the athlete an opportunity to get on the field right away, to develop them athletically, and to actually make themselves a 4-year starter at a 4-year institution. Myth number 4 is junior college isn't competitive enough, which is just not true. Depending on the geographical location or the sport or both, there are some really high profile junior college programs that can help a student athlete get ready for the next level. And the last myth is JUCO doesn't have scholarship money. So some junior colleges offer scholarships, but they only play a specified amount of players from out of the state that they're allocated to, which this would be true for the NJCAA, which stands for the National Junior College Athletic Association. But other junior colleges don't offer scholarships but have zero restrictions on who they can play. This would be true for the 3C2A, which stands for California Community College Athletic Association. So moving on to slide 12, the strategies for trying to get students to come to a junior college, just highlighting the scholarship facts. So when it comes to scholarship, approximately 126,000 athletic scholarships amounting to $2 billion are awarded annually. Less than 2% of high school seniors receive this type of award. So it's a really low percentage to receive that amount. 26% of students who enter college on a scholarship are no longer on scholarship entering their sophomore year. Only 3% of high school students receive a scholarship, and less than 1% receive a 4-year Division I scholarship. 80% of scholarships are not on a Division I level. So these stats are good to know because a lot of high school students have the dream and think that it's easy to get a scholarship as well as maintain it, and it's not. So going to a junior college really helps you gain experience and helps your chances in terms of scholarships. So moving on to the next slide, the best selling point for a junior college coach is saving money. So there's comparisons on slide 13 of a junior college and a 4-year university, and I kept them within the state of California. So just to give an example, Palomar College is located in San Marcos, California, and it's a junior college. The tuition cost for this school is $1,338. San Diego State University is also in San Diego, California, and is a Division I school. The tuition cost for this school is $7,488. It's a difference of over $6,000. So saving money can be really helpful for a student and as well as their families. Not everyone can afford college, so that's something to really consider. Moving on. So our last slide, in conclusion, for students, it's really good to start preparing with your counselors as well as your coaches about the future. Know that the recruiting process starts with you. So it's really important that you take initiative. Make academics a priority in order to stay eligible and have the most opportunity for scholarships. And for coaches, be aware of the rules and guidelines during the recruitment process. Make recruiting a priority in your program and embrace the different ways that you can recruit athletes. Be passionate when selling your program to potential recruits. So they go hand in hand. Hopefully you learned something in this video about recruiting for junior colleges. Thank you for watching and have a great day.